Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 3-hour program lined up today. Among our guests, Nick Whalen, 30 minutes. Player props for tonight's action. Warren Sharp, his look at what happened yesterday and what he likes tonight. And Chicago legend in the broadcasting business, Mike North on the program, also a part of the Friday Football Invitational here at Circa, handicapping 7 games in college and the NFL every week. He'll be on talking Bears Commanders at that time. Pauly, pretty awesome day. Monday night doubleheader, 2 baseball games, one of which starts next hour.
That's right. And it's a big one for Toronto. It's not 100% it's over, but you're with 25-3 all time when you win the first 2 on the road. So suddenly it looked like Seattle was going to lose to Detroit. Now they could take a commanding lead if they can get it done.
I would call that a stolen victory last night by the Seattle Mariners.
Did you watch A-Rod on the pregame? He was awesome.
I did not.
This is a trap game. Our buddy Vasgersian was on. He did a great job. It's a trap game and a bad spot for Toronto because they're still on feeling themselves because they climbed the mountain and knocked off the Yankees. And then here comes Seattle, still with the adrenaline, even after winning in 15 innings.
They had no time to get over that, basically.
That's right. He had a great breakdown. He nailed it. And to go 0 for your last 23 as well, and what Miller did.
Does the same thing apply today for the Brewers?
I don't know. I don't feel good about an opener off the bat. Probably opener and then Priester.
Yeah, and especially when you're taking on Blake Snell.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll dive into those games more throughout the entire show. And again, we'll keep you live, up to date with the betting numbers as the game progresses. Again, starting first pitch from American Family Field in Milwaukee coming up. Well, that's actually the late game. The American League game is obviously the early game today. And how about that leadoff home run last night? 1 hit after that. The 2 Monday Nighters that we have in the National Football League. I'm looking right now on the screen. And this is, a 4, still a key number in the National Football League. And in football in general, not as key as 3, but there are plenty of 3.5s out there right now, nationally speaking, and there are multiple 4.5s, the way it appears. And the total in the first game, well, they're actually the same now, Pauly, 49.5 in the contest. I know that you bet the Commanders last week on the look-ahead number here.
Yeah.
In the spot.
They're a good team. They're not getting talked about enough. Especially, I like them I like them tonight. Bet them next week against Dallas. Big stretch for this team. And love the coaching staff and Daniels. And I think they're going to get it done tonight and go to Dallas and win. And the Opta AI has been so good, and it's such a great product up on vsin.com that they think Bill's going to go under, and they're going to hold him in check. But this is a big opportunity here for Ben Johnson and the Bears on prime time. Off the bye to see what they look like and if they can beat a contender. Not to mention, it's the Hail Mary debacle. The rematch of what happened last year when you think, the Bears are pretty good. They might make the playoffs. The defense is playing well. They lost that game, and the season went to bleep, and they quit on their coach.
Yeah, now how about this? You mentioned that with the Opta AI numbers at vsin.com projecting Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt for only 52 yards. I've heard nothing but the exact opposite from people who are betting this game, and I think a lot of it obviously has to do with how bad the Bears are against opposing teams running the football. They've only played 4 games. Think about that. Most teams have already played 6. They've played 4, and they've still allowed the 9th most rushing yards to running backs in the entire league. And if you want to crunch it down and translate that to the fantasy world, they allow the 2nd most fantasy points per game to running backs. In total, they've allowed 563 yards on the ground. 8 teams have allowed more. And again, they've all played 2 more games than the Bears. The team in 10th, 1 spot behind Chicago, is Minnesota. They've only played 5 games. So there is that spot, and I think a lot of people going to battle tonight thinking that based on how bad they get, that's kind of like the equivalent of looking at how bad the Dolphins are against the ground game and what the backup was able to do yesterday for the Chargers. And if you laddered him, congratulations going on your vacation anytime soon.
That's right. A lot of guys like that yesterday. So I think that's going to be a big key to both of these games because the Bills have struggled against the run. And does Robinson go off and Algier? And what can the Bears do? What can the Commanders do on the ground against Chicago? That also, I think, could be a big game for Daniels if he was healthy. Now, the question is with the knee and the brace and if that's going to give him problems. But the Bears also play a lot of man-to-man defense. I think number 1 in the league. So you think he's just going to take off and scramble as well. And he's plus money to have 50 yards. And you know what we have to do in prime time games with the longest rush over as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm already on Caleb Williams, 10.5. But a good test here for the Bears. If you just think, well, you're outplayed by the Raiders. You beat the Cowboys, whoop-de-doo. This is a big opportunity here to see off the bye what Ben Johnson has and if they can hang with a contender and where the season's going to go from here. Because you win this, it's a good win on the road, and then you have the Saints at home. And you could set yourself up for hopefully a 8-win season.
By the way, you said a key comment there talking about this game with Ben Johnson as the play caller off the bye. And in my discussions this week with Survivor partners, we kicked around using the Commanders. My concern was Ben Johnson off the bye. You know, Pauly, that we're going to see the really good stuff tonight.
You should.
Right. He's going to go into the bag of tricks, whatever he can. And a great write-up today talking about first touchdown scores in this game from Adam Burke at vsin.com. So when Ben Johnson, in his 3 year, when he was the OC of the Lions, in 3 years, they scored the first touchdown of the game 36 out of 55 times. That included the first touchdown in 2023 and 2024 when his team was off the bye. Rome Odunze already has 3 first-team touchdowns on the season. He has 6 targets in the red zone out of 15 total for wide receivers. So I'm tailing Adam on this. I bet him at 12-1. And he also is making a case for Caleb Williams, mobile quarterback, obviously. The Commanders have allowed 3 total touchdowns to running backs this year. So that he thinks there's a good angle. Williams is going to get a carry inside the 5. He already has 8 rushing attempts for 41 yards and a touchdown inside the red zone. So great write-up there, great breakdown. And that was my thought all along, is that Ben Johnson's going to look awesome tonight with the play calling. So I went with Odunze and Williams to score the first touchdown in this game.
What do you think happens with Washington offensively if it's not Bill? Is he just going to mix it up and get everyone involved, a little bit of Ertz? Or what do you think happens if Debo, because Debo was plus 240 here to have 80 yards?
Well, okay, so good question. And I want to fire it back with I'll answer your question with a question. Because of the Bears being so inept against the ground, the ground game, is this a spot where we need to attack it with Deebo Samuel? He did not have a carry last week, which was a little surprising because he had a good game overall against the Chargers. But before that, he had 3 carries in his 2 previous games. You can bet him over 1.5 carries in this game, but it's like minus 150. But the rushing yards prop for Deebo tonight is around 5.5 or 6.5 yards at last check. It might be up. Books might be a little bit different on that. But isn't that like an angle here? If Krosky Merritt is going to be the number 1 guy, of course, other running backs will get carries, but also they will probably look at Deebo a couple times against the Bears and how bad they've been.
I think you'll know in the first quarter, in the first couple drives. Like, if they're going to keep gashing him on the ground, then we know what's going to happen in the game plan. And because Kingsbury's so good. But if they have success at least containing him and he's forced to throw and they can put him in 3rd and long or difficult, then we have a different ball game here. But I still don't know what to make of this defense because they were so good to start last year and then the wheels came off once they quit.
Right.
So tough. And we got weather, it looks like. Looks like we got wind here. We got wind. We have rain. That was supposed to happen a little bit in some other games. It didn't work out in the Carolina game, but it looks like weather could play a role in the second game.
Right. And in the early game now, again, I think this is a really good game. I think both games are actually really good tonight. Can't wait. Awesome night of sports. Now, the Falcons have only played 4 games, so keep that in mind. But they have allowed the fewest rushing yards to running backs overall, not close, and only 1 touchdown. But here's what's even crazier. They have allowed through 4 games to running backs only 13 catches, 39 yards, and 1 touchdown. By far and away the best team in the league. Who's number 2? The Bills. They've only allowed 21 catches and 83 yards in the air to running backs in total. But, again, to your point of getting gashed on the ground, they allow more than 149 yards overall. Check that, 145 yards to running backs or to teams on the ground. And they've allowed 6 touchdowns to running backs, tied for 4th most in the league. So Bijan tonight, obviously the angle here would be him. And we had Warren Sharp on the program yesterday, the VSiN Pro Football Tailgate Show, and he made a great case, and he bet it early, but he was targeting Drake London with no Mooney in this game tonight. And he broke down, and he'll be on the show coming up in a little bit more than an hour and 20 minutes. But when Mooney doesn't play, that's usually when London goes off. His receptions prop is juice over 5.5. And his yards, about 72.5 to 74.5. But the Opta AI they have him getting about 80 yards in the game.
And Pitts has had 4 straight games with 4 catches. I think Pitts could get at least 50 yards as well. But this is another big opportunity for him. Are you going to be a contender? Are you going to get to 9-10 wins? It's your first home Monday night game since 2017. I can't believe that. And it's all got to be about Robinson on the ground and attack this Bills defense. And from the Bills' standpoint, they got to bounce back after they beat themselves and they were sloppy in losing to the Patriots at home with the silly turnovers. So I don't know if Atlanta can get stops, though. I disagree with some people on this. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. And I took a little bit of 20-1 at Caesars and Will Hill. Each team to have a touchdown and a field goal in both halves. I think both teams will move the ball in this one. I see it differently than a lot of people.
Well, the total's gone up.
But I know I was talking to other people like Paul Bovey and others that think it's going to be unders and player props under. I think this could be up and down the field with these teams here because they still don't, even though they look like they're improved, I don't know if I can get there with the Atlanta defense, certainly when you're taking a step up against Allen.
So both teams to score 1 touchdown and 1 field goal in each half.
20-1.
That's only in this game?
No, they offer it in both.
No, but I'm saying so it doesn't have to happen in both games tonight.
No, one game. Yeah, I think that's absolutely
totals up to 50 in a dome?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good prop. Yeah. They got over 200 props on these games. They brought their A game tonight.
All right. Pauly thinks you need to bet on this team's stats, and K-prop projections are very high on one of the starting pitchers going today. Details next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
I made a bet on one of these 2 baseball games I'll tell you about coming up in a few minutes. You did text me last night, Pauly, after the Chiefs looked impressive over the Lions to improve to 3-3. What did your text say to me?
Bet the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. You do AFC if you want as well. It was a great job at the end of the game if you were watching what Mike Tirico said. Talking to players in the organization, they think they're in a better position and have a better team. And there's right now when they're 2-3 compared to last year when they were 15-2 in the 1 seed and went to the Super Bowl. That's all I needed to hear. Plus, they look great on offense. You're getting Rice back. It would help if St. Brown would catch the ball on 4th down. It would also help if they would call a penalty on Kansas City occasionally.
Sure.
But in any event,
it would help if they didn't make up rules on the fly and take 3 minutes before they called the flag, threw the flag on the Jared Goff touchdown.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts with teams like the Chiefs.
They heard McCauley say it, and then they buzzed down in their ear. Hey, you missed one here. Okay, go back.
Right.
Condolences to people who had Goff any time or first. We'll get to that coming up. But when are you going to get Mahomes at 8-9-1?
You're not.
And plus, Baltimore's a mess. They're 1-5. Kansas City owns Buffalo in playoff time. Who's beating them? And you can probably pencil them in for the 1 or the 2 seed with the issues that the Chargers have. And watching Bo Nix yesterday was vomit-inducing on the air.
Right.
So it's just, it's all about price and about trusting Andy Reid and Mahomes. And the offense is going to be cooking and humming. And the guys they're getting back, and a little bit of Brown, a little bit of Worthy. Don't even have to throw to Thornton. Oh, I got Rice back. Hello, Pacheco. Little Kelsey looked good. I mean, who are you? It's too tough to stop.
So I said a couple of weeks ago, this team can miss the playoffs. They look terrible. And my whole idea was last year they were very lucky. I mean, we can all agree on that, I think, right? They won 11 one-score games. They were undefeated, right, in one-score games last year, I believe. And that was the only time in history that's ever happened to win that many one-score games. And they didn't look that great last year, yet made the Super Bowl. And they did not have all the dumb luck going their way early on in the season. And they had no explosive plays in the offense. And that's obviously they had an injury there to Xavier Worthy. Now he's been back a couple of weeks. They're going to get Rice back like you talked about. And I can't stand this team like you, like most of the country as well, outside of the Kansas City, Missouri area. But at 9-1, now they were as high as 15-1, I saw, if the website I was looking at was accurate last night. Earlier in the year when they were not looking good, nor were they winning games. I think that might have been after the Eagles lost in week 2. But at this rate, again, it's a numbers play. You're not going to they're going to go out and bury the Raiders this week.
Right.
And you're going to kiss 8 and 9 to 1 goodbye. And it's going to be the same spot where it's been in the last 7 years with Mahomes. And that is around 5 to 1 to win the whole thing. And you're right. Who scares you in the AFC outside of Buffalo right now? The Broncos defense is very good. Mm-hmm. Did you watch that offense play again yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
They look terrible yet again. The Chargers are pretty decent. A ton of injuries. I don't buy the Steelers for 2 seconds. The Colts, I think, are pretty damn good. But do you like Danny Dimes or Patrick Mahomes when they play each other in January? That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
So and
the Chiefs are better than I'm confident right now. The Chiefs are better than the Bills, and they'll beat them whether that game's at home or in Buffalo.
Well, again,
but they play them coming up though too. So once they take care of the Raiders, then it's a big stretch of Washington, Buffalo, Denver, Colts, Cowboys. But knowing Kansas City and Andy Reid, they probably go 3-1 and have no issues.
Sure, even like they could go to Buffalo in a semi-snowstorm in January in the AFC title game and be catching, I don't know, 1-2 points, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you going to have the faith in there?
Right. Now, outside of the Super Bowl last year and the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, I'm saying the path and to get there, you got to bring your A game to beat them, and he only loses when it's in overtime, what Brady did and what Burrow did to him. So that's how good this is, and I respect the organization, and I had to take 8-1. Good job by you getting 9-1.
I also kind of want yesterday back. Yesterday was not a good feeling watching the NFL to me because of the zillion injuries. But it's one of those things where, man, it happens every single year.
I think this is out of control, though.
But I think
it's like, is this going to happen? The 49ers in Tampa Bay are like, if this was later in the season, they'd be better off just forfeiting the games and say, just give me the L. Because I know I'm going to get guys hurt. I mean, you can't escape a game without someone getting hurt right now with San Francisco and Tampa Bay.
I saw a really good tweet on the 49ers situation on defense. Somebody called losing Nick Bosa for the year like cutting off the leg of the team. Now losing Fred Warner is ripping the heart out of the team.
Yeah.
Guy missed, I think, one game in his entire career? He is arguably the best linebacker in football.
Horrible luck.
Oh, my God. It's one thing after another with both these. And then to your point, you tweeted out, and you're spot on with this, by the way. When somebody, there was a tweet that you responded to that said Mahomes now plus 270 to win the MVP. You're like, hello, the guy in Tampa, he's throwing a wide receiver number 6 on the team this year. If the season ended today, I'm confident in saying Mayfield would win in a landslide.
It should be unanimous.
Yeah.
He's throwing to 6-string wide receivers and what he's doing. How about the run on 3rd and 14?
That's it. That's
the
play.
How good was the run?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the redemption story, again, that graphic was great with hitting the iceberg and coming out with the Carolina and Rams helmet and going back to Tampa. And it's hilarious that Cleveland, 11 games in a row, have been held to 17 points or fewer. And then what this guy's doing to go into, if he goes into Detroit Monday night and wins, shut it down. Just shut it down, what he's dealing with. Not offensive side of the ball, all the injuries, running back. They're not going to have Godwin or Irvin already. And now he could go out and take out Detroit on the road if he does that. I mean, this guy's Superman, what he's doing.
Well, here's the thing. You can't shut it down because he could also still get hurt. And I'm saying that because the reason why it was painful for me yesterday, Emeka Egbuka was minus 117 here at Circa to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I win a lot of money to him this year if he wins that award. That injury is devastating to me personally. And the other one is Puka Nacua. After week 1, 16-1 Offensive Player of the Year. He's running away with it.
Yep.
Nope. Sorry. Not your day, Mitch. We're going to wipe out a bunch of the guys that you bet on. And that's the perils of betting on NFL awards. It can happen at any, to any player at any point in the season.
Hopefully it's only a game or two.
Well, that's what we hope for sure.
Yep.
Here's a bet that I made earlier today. The K-Prop projection model at vsin.com. They were really high on, I'm going to call him Yes Savage, because that would be a great last name. It's Yes Savage, but we'll go Yes Savage for the sake of this. I bet him here at Circa over 5.5 Ks at even money. They love him. They, based on their projections, they have him getting 6.7 Ks, I believe, in the game tonight. He had 11 in his last start. And the Mariners strike out a ton.
Great. Yeah. And he was great in that performance. And they got to have him. Adjusted series price, Seattle minus 240. Dodgers at ESPN better, minus 220. Incredible. They don't have home field. And Milwaukee went 6-0 against them this year.
Yeah, think about that.
No matter what happens, we're going to have a great story, or at least an interesting story. It's been 24 years since we had a repeat champ. The last champ to make back to the World Series with Phillies in 2009. Brewers have never won a World Series. They haven't been there since 82. Mm-hmm. Seattle's never been there. And Toronto's been a long drought as well, going back to the 90s. So it'll be a great story no matter who's able to do this. And first things first, they got to have them. They got to get the bats going here today. But this pitching staff and what Seattle did, what Miller was able to do. Now you got Gilbert coming back after he pitched Friday. That's a tough one. If Toronto loses that game, when Dumper's got great numbers at Rogers Center.
Oh, crushes
Incredible.
it there.
And he's got a hit in every single game there. Vlad has great numbers against Gilbert, 6 for 14 with 2 bombs. But to get a pitching performance like that from Gausman and you lose, you get the first pitch of the game to be a home run, and then you get one hit the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. And they had Miller on the ropes, and they should have knocked him out of the game in the first inning.
Oh, man, tip of the cap to that kid for recovering and going as long as he did.
Right.
To really, again, I think, steal that game. Springer against Gilbert, 4-12, a home run, double and a triple there. And in the late game, a couple of guys that stand out with some decent success. Like, how long are we going to get Quintana tonight?
I think, I don't know. It's Ashby to start, right? And then is it Priester, Quintana? How long are they going to go?
Well, yeah.
Because Priester should be good because he went 4 days ago and he couldn't get anybody out.
Yeah, nobody out.
So I don't know how they're going to treat it, if he's going to go Ashby, Quintana, Priester, or how he's going to juggle it. Yeah. I just know he's going Freddie tomorrow.
Stuff I was seeing earlier was like Quintana's going to get maybe the bulk. I don't know. Who knows at this point? Again, the game starts in like 3.5 hours, and we don't really have a good read on that. But if Quintana's going to be a part of the bulk pitching rotation here, Betts in his career has a home run, 2 doubles, 8 of 28 off him. Freddie Freeman is 5 of 16 with a home run and a double as well. Not a big sample size here when you're looking at these pitchers going today.
Want to go Ohtani props under? How bad he's been?
Been awful.
Those are some sick numbers.
Since when? Was it the first game against the Reds, I believe? When he went crazy at the plate?
2 for last 22, 9 strikeouts. Since the Reds game. That's exactly what it is. 2 for 22, 9 Ks. And how bad he was in the Philly series. Yeah. One of the best times of the year. We had day games in hockey. NBA starts next week. MLB playoffs heating up. VSiN Pro gives you everything you need to win across every sport, every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits, DraftKings and Circa. The AI-powered prop tools. Get up there for the doubleheader tonight. They were spot on with Darnold and JSN. Start betting smarter today. $9.99 save 50% off now with an annual plan. The content's incredible. Great website, vsin.com/subscribe.
If we could only make one prop bet tonight, Monday Night Football, which one should it be? We'll ask Nick Whalen next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Thanks for watching today on YouTube TV, listening, Sirius XM Channel 158, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, or any of our terrific affiliates across the country. Right now, we head out to the Progressive Guest Line as Nick Whalen joins the program with RotoWire. Follow him on X at WHA, the number 1, EN. Nick, thanks for the time. Now that we have, 6 data points for most of these teams in the National Football League banked at this point of the season, Pauly and I were just talking about, well, look, I mean, the AFC looks terrible. And here come the Chiefs. We bet them to win the Super Bowl yesterday. Are you all in like we are?
I don't know if I'm as all in as you guys are, but I totally understand it. I still don't love the price at plus 750 for a 3-3 team, but it absolutely feels like the Chiefs are turning the corner. And, I think you can throw out, the Lions were without a bunch of defensive backs last night, but this is really like 3 or 4 weeks in a row where I think Kansas City, despite taking a loss to Jacksonville in there, despite that ugly loss to Philly early in the season, I think this team continues to look better and better every week. I think the defense has bounced back really, really nicely. It's starting to look like a Chiefs defense once again. And even before Rashee Rice makes his return next week against the Raiders, and that number I saw up as high as 11.5 this morning, it really feels like the offense with the return of Xavier Worthy is hitting a different gear. I know it's not the Chiefs of 2022 or 2023, but just seeing the raw point totals for this team is not what we saw whatsoever in 2024, when it just felt like if they could get to 24, 25 points, that was a miracle. I mean, they're doing it a lot more effortlessly than they were early in the season. Certainly all of last year, things are coming easier. Patrick Mahomes has been a lot more efficient as a passer, but you guys said the biggest thing here, which is the AFC feels wide open, and honestly, the NFC to some degree, if we want to get into that, because it feels like every single week you're kind of waiting for the Lions or the Rams or the Packers or the Eagles, whoever it may be, to assert themselves as that top team. And even in wins, it's like, were you really that convinced by Green Bay hanging on to beat Cincinnati, the Rams, 17-3 over the Ravens yesterday? I think we're seeing the same thing happen in the AFC, and the Chiefs right now to win that division, guys, at plus 150, also very appealing to me.
I have to ask you about the Ravens now as well. This is unprecedented. They're 1-5 and they're even money to make the playoffs. So they have the 5th easiest schedule left. Harbaugh said, you're getting Lamar back. Guys are coming back. It's happened 4 times in history. I believe Alex Smith was on 2 of the teams, which is unbelievable. What do you think about futures on the Ravens? And to think the Steelers are 4-1 and Pittsburgh's 1-5, yet Pittsburgh's only like $1.60 to win the division.
Look, I get it, and I'm surprised that we didn't see more of an odd shift heading into the week. It's like, okay, so we had the expected results, right? We expected Pittsburgh to win. We expected Baltimore to lose, and it's like, all right, now we'll make the adjustments. But if you waited, you're getting a better deal on the Ravens. And I don't know anybody who thought Baltimore was going to come out and win that game yesterday against the Rams. If you look at the Steelers' schedule, it's kind of the inverse of Baltimore, where the Ravens, start with this really difficult schedule. It's a little bit easier for the Steelers early on, but things do pick up. They have a very winnable game on Thursday night against the Joe Flacco Bengals. Although, you could see Pittsburgh slipping up against just about anybody. I know they're 4-1 right now, but this is not a bulletproof outfit by any means. After that, Packers, Colts, Chargers, Bengals again. We'll see where they're at that point. Bears, Bills, Ravens, and then, of course, they play the Ravens in Week 18, which could be a very meaningful game. So I think it's a little bit of forecasting on both sides. I mean, we haven't seen the Ravens backed into this kind of corner before, but this is a team that has been prone to slow starts. They were 0-2 last season, then won 7 of their next 8 right after that. But the big thing for me, guys, I think the offense will come around. I think Lamar is going to look like Lamar once he's back after the bye. I just wonder about the defense, because the defense is so bad right now that even against these middling teams, if you want to say whoever the 22nd best team in the NFL is, it's not a lock to me that the Ravens win that game like they would in years past, because if the Ravens don't get to 30 points, they're liable to lose to just about anyone. And even before the injuries, I mean, this defense was bottom 5 in a lot of the key advanced numbers that you look at. And, the idea of Roquan Smith coming back and Kyle Hamilton getting healthy and Marlon Humphrey and those guys, it's all well and good. I think it makes the defense look better on paper, but we're yet to see those results, even when those guys were in the lineup the first 5 weeks.
All right, so let's look at props that we have on tonight's doubleheader. You bet Jacory Krosky-Merritt very early in the week. You got a great number here at 61.5. He's up to, very high 60s at this point. Do you still think, based on how bad the Bears defense has been against the running game this year, do you still think he's worth a play?
I think he is, guys. I think I got to stick with it. Like you said, grabbed it in the low 60s. I saw it as high as 70.5 late last night, but I'm buying in on the workload improvement that we saw specifically last week for Krosky-Merritt. Lit up the Chargers in the second half of that game. Washington goes down 10-0 early. They hold the Chargers scoreless the rest of the game. Finished with well over 100 yards against what had been a pretty solid run defense in the LA Chargers. And, now you get a really, really good matchup against Chicago. It's not quite Miami Dolphins bad, but the Bears are close when you look at some of the numbers defensively. On top of that, Washington might be without Chris Rodriguez. He's been banged up. Dealing with a calf injury, that's 7-8 carries per game. Maybe some of those trickle down to Krosky-Merritt. And again, to pile on the Bears here, guys, dead last in yards per carry allowed at over 6 per attempt. They've already given up 19 runs of at least 10 yards on the season. I think maybe the most convincing data point is they're the only team against which the Raiders were able to run the ball. I mean, Ashton Genty went wild in that game. The Raiders as a team ran for 240 yards before the Bears bye week. The Raiders are averaging 81 rushing yards in their other games this season. So I think this is a spot where we see Krosky-Merritt involved early on. That was not the case to begin the season. Feels like they're finally taking the training wheels off of him in Washington. And you're without some of your weapons in the passing game as well. I think this has to be a run-heavy script.
Yeah, great call. Based on everything you just said, I was making kind of the case for Deebo Samuel because his numbers are so short tonight in the ground game. But you think that Daniels is also going to be running quite a bit?
I think so. And that, again, it just plays into this idea that the way to beat the Bears is to just pound them on the ground. And, I think that's ideally what Washington wants to do. Even when they have a healthy Terry McLaurin, it's still a team that likes to win games through the running game. So, without Terry McLaurin, without Noah Brown, I think you lean even more heavily on Jaden Daniels alongside Krosky-Merritt. Looking at the over 7.5 rush attempts for Jaden Daniels. He's gone over this number in 2 of 3 games so far. And the other thing is that the Bears, despite being this terrible run defense, some of those numbers early in the season can be skewed if you play like the Bills and the Ravens. They haven't even faced a true running quarterback yet this season. Even Geno Smith ran for over 30 yards on this defense. Not exactly the second coming of Michael Vick. The only semi-mobile quarterback they faced is J.J. McCarthy in week 1, who only carried it 2 times. So you have a really bad run defense that hasn't even had to prepare for a running quarterback yet.
What do you think in the other game from props and how you think it'll play out with Buffalo and Atlanta?
Yeah, this is one where I ended up staying away from the side. I obviously the Bills are the better team, but you got Atlanta coming off a bye. They're at home. 4.5 is a pretty attractive number, but I just couldn't quite bring myself to bet on the Atlanta Falcons. One of those teams you just wonder, are they actually going to show up week to week? So stayed away from the side. One way I'm playing this game, though, is looking at the anytime touchdown market, specifically for Tyler Algier. You can get an anytime touchdown at 2-1. He has the same number of red zone carries as Bijan Robinson this season. Those of us in the fantasy world have been frustrated by this for years. He has more carries inside the 10-yard line than Robinson does, 7 versus 3 so far this season. And I know the Bills' run defense, held down pretty well against New England last week, but Baltimore ran all over this team. New Orleans ran all over this team. Miami had some success on the ground. They will have Ed Oliver out there tonight, but I think this is a spot where, first and foremost, Atlanta really tries to win this game on the ground. And if they have, a red zone opportunity or two, it's usually Tyler Algier who gets that first crack.
Which receiver goes off for the Bears in this game?
It's got to be Rome Odunze. I think it's got to be Rome Odunze. I like the over 67.5 receiving yards for him. Also toying with the over 24.5 on the longest reception. He's got 14 catches that have gone for double-digit yardage already this season. I think we see volume from the Bears trying to test that Washington secondary. I think it's a really interesting matchup where the Bears probably won't be able to run it that well on Washington. Washington should be able to run it well on Chicago. So I think this is a Caleb Williams type of spot for the Bears. That Washington defense did play really well down the stretch against the Chargers last week, but it's a defense that's given up the second most explosive passing plays in the NFL this season. They're 29th in average depth of target allowed. Defense grades out really well against the run, really badly against the pass. So kind of an opposite type of matchup for both teams. And look, if I think this could be a big night for Caleb Williams, I think Rome Odunze has to be heavily involved.
Very good. Do you have a favorite bet or a best bet for tonight, or are they all pretty much the same?
I would have to go with the Kroski Merritt number,
okay.
Just because I got in on that one early. But, as far as the props go, I would say I value them relatively equally. I do like the Daniels one quite a bit, really banking on that idea that this Bears defense, which is not very good, which is missing guys in the secondary, just has not had to prepare for a quarterback like Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
agree.
Hey, Nick, great spot. Awesome to talk to you again today. Best of luck tonight.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There you go. Nick Whalen on the Progressive Guest Line with RotoWire. Follow him on X at Whalen, but there's no L. It's the number 1. WHA1EN.
Even money to make the playoffs, 1-5. Unbelievable.
I mean,
she's right about the schedule getting easier coming up, but they can't stop anything.
Well, they can go on a rampage once Jackson comes back. They could.
They could.
Yeah. The bottom of the AFC, Pauly, this is like no hyperbole. When you look at how many teams are true bottom feeders, it's got to be the worst we've seen in years.
There's some crap.
I'll run it all down coming up a little bit later on. Win, lose up next. Pauly will tell you about an 80-1, a 90-1, and an all-time bad beat next here on VSiN.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
First touchdown in the early games. Colts, 4-1. Cash it. Most points scored. 3-way tie. Panthers, Chiefs, Buccaneers. All with 30 points. Carolina was 14-1. Highest scoring game. Lived up to the hype. Dallas, Carolina, plus 450. Cowboys are must-watch TV. Their games are awesome.
And Panthers at home, by the way.
That's right. Fewest points scored. Ravens, 8-1. And lowest scoring game, Rams, Ravens, plus 750. hell of a goal line stand by the Rams there. And once that happened, it was over, and McVay sat on the lead. Most passing yards. Mac Jones, 15-1.
Pauly, he had 200 at halftime.
Yep. The leader before Mac went off was Brissett at a big number. Most rushing yards, Dowdle did it again, 15-1. Back-to-back weeks. Said he was going to eat. Again, he did. Had it circled, he got there.
So what
it was awesome. His tickets were unbelievable. The ladder was great. He was plus money just to have 90. He was plus 450 to have $120. And then I stopped. But the thing, model, 200 yards and then 15-1 most rushing. We talked about that all week.
So what did the Panthers do when Hubbard comes back?
Please.
And Hubbard actually had a good year last year.
You can't bench him. You got to ride with the hot hand.
Oh, he has to be the bell cow now.
Guy's great.
They can't. Luke, can we look that up? I think they just gave him the extension too, right, Hubbard?
Well, I'll give you another
They're
one.
not going to be able to trade him.
You know, why did I give CeeDee Lamb all that money? Pickens, 400 was 14-1 with all his yards. Pickens most receiving, 14-1. Most touchdowns. Cowboys, Hunter Luepke, 90-1. Anytime, 22-1. Nate Aiken Atkins.
Okay, that's a reach.
In the London game, 80-1. First touchdown. Who had that? Douglas for the Patriots, 31-1, and Connor Hayward, 23-1. Sunday night.
By the way, we already have the best guy to use for that saying. It's Orioles pitcher Keegan Aiken.
Right.
Keegan Aiken ass.
No good?
That's it'll never top that guy.
Okay. Sunday night football, no turnover, 8-1. College football, Franklin's out. That's some buyout, my friends. First team in history to lose back-to-back games as a 20-plus point favorite. Northwestern, 10-1 on the money line.
What would you do if you were him?
Go live on a beach.
So would I. I'd buy my own beach.
Put my feet up. That's right. Take the $50 million. You got to be. Did you see The Gambler with Goodman and?
Oh yeah.
Is that scene? Just you got bleep you money now.
Yeah, you do.
The power of bleep you. Marshall 5-1 on the money line. Pitt surprises Florida State plus 320. UCLA does it again. How good is this story? This Neuheisel kid can coach. Plus 230. Jason Candle did it again. Can you believe this? Brad Powers talked about this the last time he was on the show. It hit that weekend. It hit again. He was an 11-point favorite, the head coach at Toledo. He lost outright again.
That's right.
Bowling Green plus 320. No one loses more games as a touchdown or more favorite than this guy. Troy plus 240. Shocked the world in overtime. Indiana plus 230. Next coach at Penn State? This guy can name his price. Cignetti's a beast. Home runs, Terang plus 825 in Game 5. Vaughn plus 525. Contreras likewise. Suzuki plus 475. Someone can cash a big ticket here. And I can't wait till tomorrow. Send them in again. We still have the Brewers and Blue Jays still alive. So let's see your tickets for pizza money. Like Rich in Canada, who's got the 400-1 exacta. The Brewers and Blue Jays open 50-1. Seattle opened 25-1 to win the World Series. And the Aces down the street in other spots were as high as 40-1 when they were scuffling in the middle of the WNBA season. They won it Friday night and swept Phoenix. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in, we'll put you on. You guys have been excellent sending this in. Thanks to the viewer who sent this. This is Chandler, Arizona, about to open Yo Pauly's Pizza, where it's like The Godfather. Pauly, more wine. Interesting name.
What a great name.
Yeah, New York Pizza.
Yo Pauly.
Yo Pauly's Pizza in Chandler, Arizona.
Oh, now you have to go there.
Coming soon. That's right. Thanks to everyone. We've got people out there all over. It's great. And the neighbor noticed that, the bear would come in and try to work out. Go, come in hot. So he put the swing on for the bear. Here he comes down the hill, gets a running start to come in and play on the swing as he comes in, and jumps up there and has a little fun. Got the slide. Look at comes in so fast.
A little too aggressive,
I know,
but then he settles down.
Yeah, hit himself. Yeah, right. Just comes right in. I wonder if he brings the family later on. That's excellent. Couple lose some. Rice from 13 down to 8, no good. Nebraska 4.5 up to 7. One didn't cover. Seahawks, Jags over 44.5 up to 47.5. Seattle does it again. That's 10 with 10 straight road wins. It's incredible. They were awesome defensively. Colts from 3 up to 9. The look ahead was 3. Lucky to win the game. two bad beats. Goff, anytime touchdown, 15-1. Someone at DraftKings had $5,000 on 100-1 first of the game.
Okay.
Oh, that was so bad by the league.
So think about this for a second. One guy was able to get down $5,000, clearly has more clearance there than 99% of their bettors. He's a VIP. But also, is there any doubt in your mind that guy was tipped off to something special that Detroit had dialed up on the first drive?
That's a great point by you.
No question in my mind.
Because they ran it in practice, and Tony Dungy saw it, and Tony Dungy said, hey, isn't that against the rules? But he thought they had changed the rules, so he didn't say anything. But they ran it in practice, and a lot of people on the broadcast knew it was coming. Great point. And then for that to happen, brutal. Ozzie had it, our buddy, too. Ozzie had 15-1 anytime touchdown.
Did he have first?
No, he did not have first.
Okay. All right.
That is a tough one to take. And thanks to the viewer who sent this in, I never would have saw it. Lamar against East Texas State. East Texas State was catching 7. They were up 2 scores in the fourth quarter. They led. That's my mistake. They led with 5 seconds left. Touchdown Lamar to go up 3. They were down 4. They're inside the 5. Touchdown. Then they did the lateral business on the kickoff, and they're scoop and score the other way on a final play of the game. And somehow, lane 7 and down 4 with 5 seconds left, Lamar covered. 2 touchdowns in 5 seconds.
Yeah, was there.
With the lateral business.
Do you know people who had this game?
No, I don't. No. But I imagine the viewer did who sent it in. That was incredible. Before the line moves, the sharp place is already there. They don't just follow the market, they help move it. Jeff and the crew do a great job at the sharp plays. Dialed in, connected, trusted insider sources, free reports, alerts, and market-moving insights straight to your inbox or X feed. The AI selections are up 50 units. At it since 2011. Been with Follow the Money since day one. Look for the Mr. Poison tweets on a regular basis. Public logs, transparent receipts, documented results, sharpplays.com. Stay ahead of the line, sharpplays.com.
How about this? Zach Cohen chimes in on X. Zach, tip of the cap to you as well, my friend. Did a great job with the NBA betting guide out right now, vsin.com/subscribe. Tells us Pauly on X. They already have a Yo Pauly's in Scottsdale.
Oh, they do?
That's a second location they're opening up. He says, great place. Closest thing he's had to New York pizza since moving out to Phoenix.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a 4-hour drive, quick flight. There's also, I think they're going to have a Buc-ee's in the area as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I popped my cherry there. I went to Fort Worth. It's their smallest one. They do like $1 million a day. It's crazy. Couldn't get on a pump. There's 120 of them. It's madness. Good food. Yeah. It lived up to the hype. A lot of news today. This is a wild day. Callahan gone. Tua's press conference missed the mark. He's got to apologize after what he said, putting his teammates out there on Front Street. Get ready to go here with game 2.
By the way,
all the injuries.
The injuries are just... so I think you sent over a tweet today, yeah?
About?
That the last 4 number 1 picks overall who are quarterbacks...
Yes.
The coach has been fired in the first year?
Can you believe that?
No, I cannot.
That is nuts. Let me get it.
Does it go back? I don't think it's 4 years in a row.
No. The last 4 quarterbacks taken number 1 overall have seen their first head coach fired during their rookie season. 2021, Lawrence and Urban Meyer. And it's happened 3 years in a row.
Oh,
2023,
my Lord.
Bryce Young and Frank Reich. 2024, Williams and Eberflus. This year, Cam Ward and Callahan. Huh.
It is such a mess in Tennessee right now. Other reporters are suggesting that they made the move today with no interim in mind. They don't know what they're going to do.
And how about the timing? As Vrabel comes to town. Isn't that something?
Sure. Yeah,
I don't know. 1 seed, make the playoffs every year.
I don't like what's going on here.
I don't like it. Let's mix it up.
By the way, selfishly, you know how there's been a new coach bump for teams like in every sport for as long as we've been alive? I was hoping that Callahan would not be fired until after the Colts game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons here.
He wasn't even top 5 listed before the season.
No. Mariners, Blue Jays, first pitch coming up. We'll start to dive into Week 7 numbers in the NFL. A total drop 3 points from last night. Find out which game next.